If you've wanted a Strand build that isn't a gimmick in PvP and actually has a very high skill ceiling, then this is the build for you. This Hunter Strand build completely dominates the Crucible and shines in 3v3 game modes, especially like Trials of Osiris and competitive. We have near 100% uptime on our ensnaring slam ability thanks to our exotic, our fragments, and our armor mods, which is an ability that is insanely powerful and can completely turn the tide of battle against rushers and can be used as a powerful evasive maneuver. It can even be used to shut down a thunder crash, that's how good it is. We have our grapple ability, which has near maximum uptime thanks to our mods and build, meaning you get to sniper lanes faster than any other class including a Dawnblade, and lets you pull off some insane plays with the melee attack as well. The build also has perfect synergy with Strand weapons thanks to our artifact perks this season that I'll go over, which allows you to chain those suspend plays into double or even triple kills. Yes, this means this build was absolutely made for pairing with the best Crucible weapon currently in the game, the Immortal SMG, and I will say that even the normal non-adept version of the SMG slaps so hard with this build. I recently did a god roll guide for both controller and MNK players for that SMG on my channel, so if you haven't already checked that out, then go do so by clicking the link above or at the end of the video. Dim link for this build will be in my Discord, link for which will be in the comments or description below. So at the heart of the build is the Hunter exotic chest piece 6 Coyote, which has a very simple benefit in that it provides 2 charges of your dodge. Thanks to our aspect ensnaring slam, we can use this dodge to dive to the ground and suspend enemies nearby. Now if you guys remember Shatter Dive and Glacier Grenade, this ability functions very similarly to that. It's an absolutely incredible tool to use defensively against people who ape you. It's got a fairly decent radius, and the radius works through walls as well, so it works great against people crouching around a corner, and it works great against titans with barricade as well. Now I combine this with Marksman's dodge rather than Gambler's dodge because it has a much shorter cooldown, meaning you can use the slam more often. If you're a shotgun player, you may still prefer to use Gambler's dodge because sometimes that dodge comes in handy. We then use the fragment Thread of Mind, which when we defeat a suspended enemy within the Crucible refunds a massive 25% of your class ability. Now when we defeat a suspended enemy, we generate a tangle, which thanks to our artifact mods we can do a few things with. With Untangler, when we shoot the tangle with a Strand weapon, or in this case the Immortal, we make it explode and it causes surrounding enemies in the explosion to be suspended. And with the second artifact perk, Threaded Blast, the radius of that explosion is made much larger and much more damaging. Now the radius for the tangle explosion with these artifact perks is absolutely massive, like absurdly big. If I was estimating it'd be around 20 meters, so enemies not even that close to you who start rushing you after you kill the first suspended enemy get suspended from the blast. Honestly, I didn't appreciate how large the radius for this was, but in a lot of scenarios it truly is worth shooting that tangle rather than shooting the second opponent directly. So let's go over the rest of our Strand build. As I said, we're using Marksman's dodge, but you can use Gambler's dodge for shotgunners, Strafe Jump, Threaded Spike, and then we use Grapple Grenade for its overall utility it provides. And as I said before, it's going to come in mega handy for getting to those lanes to snipe, use your pulse rifle or scout rifle in before others. For our aspects, we use Widow's Silk, which gives us 2 Grapple Grenade charges and then lets us spawn a grapple point, so we can infinitely grapple back and forth using that point. And then obviously Ensnaring Slam is the key aspect, which is at the center of the build. We mentioned Thread of Mind earlier, which refunds class ability energy. We then use Thread of Generation, which gives back a massive amount of grenade energy for any time you damage someone with any type of damage, so you're going to get your grapples back quickly when you're in the thick of the action. Thread of Ascent gives tons of bonuses when we use our grapple. It gives us 30 handling, 30 airborne effectiveness for a whopping 15 seconds, and also refills the magazine for the weapon you have equipped, so you're perfectly primed to shoot someone down immediately after grappling. Finally, we have Thread of Continuity, which is very important to this build as it causes Guardians to be suspended for 50% longer. When you're dealing with multiple opponents, you need that extra duration on the suspend. For our armor mods, let's start with the Cloak. It's a little tricky here as currently none of the class ability regeneration mods work with Ensnaring Slam and 6 Coyote. Even though this season kickstarts are working with other double charge abilities as you've seen in my other builds, it isn't working with Ensnaring Slam. However, I still think it's worth running double utility kickstart here, as there are occasions you may want to use a normal dodge, especially if you're using Gambler's dodge, and then it will work for you. I would have loved to run 1 stack of Reaper here, but unfortunately it doesn't work with ensnaring slam. You could actually run Thread of Wisdom here instead of Thread of Ascent or Thread of Generation, so that when you kill a suspended enemy, you spawn an Orb of Power that way. And then on my boots, I run 2 stacks of Insulation and 1 stack of Absolution, so that when we generate Orbs of Power, or our teammates do, we gain a massive chunk of class ability energy back. For my chest piece, I'm running the relevant unflinching mods. For my gloves, I run 1 stack of Grenade Kickstart, which does work with the double grapple charge, and if you've seen any of my other Strand videos, you can keep re-triggering Grenade Kickstart from the grapple point you spawn infinitely. Then the rest of my mods on the armor are my relevant dexterity and targeting mods. Remember to pick up the perks from the artifact which lower the energy requirements for the weapon archetypes you need. I would recommend running a Strand weapon like the Immortal with this build so you can blow up tangles for all those bonuses. For my build distribution, the number 1 priority here is 100 mobility to minimize our dodge and therefore our ensnaring slam cooldown. In number 2 here is recovery so that you can minimize downtime between engagements. Then you probably want at least 3 resilience this season so you're not too squishy. The reason why I'm saying 3 is because if you're 2 resilience this season or under, the Immortal requires 1 less headshot to kill you. That's an Immortal without target lock. You can achieve a higher resilience, great, but 3 is a good starting point for hunters. Then aim for discipline to get your grapple back quickly, and then finally go for intellect and strength in that order. So there you have it guys, my meta Strand build that is going to catch on very quickly in the Crucible. Suspending opponents on demand both offensively and defensively is an extremely powerful ability for close quarters combat, which I think will hold a place in the meta for some time to come. If you found anything of what I talked about today helpful, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny builds, both PvP and PvE. I'm Mr. Ronit, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.